There was scorching heat, show-stopping thunderstorms, and a septic truck full of shit that stole the limelight when I saw Bruce Dickinson, Doro, and Judas Priest live, all within 24 hours. And in this video I'm gonna tell you all about it, plus I'm gonna rank who did best of those three metal legends. If anyone would have told a 15-year-old me that I would see those three legends all within a 24-hour space, I would have laughed. And if you would have told me that I would see them and they would be 60, 65, and 72, I would have asked to take your temperature the old way. I mean, could these people even sing still? And would Judas Priest be better than when I saw them in March? Would Bruce actually want to be on stage, unlike when he was with Iron Maiden last year? And would Doro be better left as a memory of a teenager than seeing her in reality? Now, the event that made this possible is Masters of Rock, held every year in Wisowice in the Czech Republic, some 3.5 hours away from Prague. It's their 20th anniversary, super nice festival, very friendly people, a lot of good food options, everything works perfectly, and no trouble, at least not human-made, but more on that later. Let's just dive into how the first of them did, that's Bruce Dickinson. I've never been a big follower of Bruce Dickinson's solo material, but when I did my album review on the Mandrake project, then I dove a little bit into the music and I found out that there is actually a lot of good stuff in there. So I wanted to go and see if he could do this stuff live, but on the other hand, I was a little bit skeptic because I'm used to him in Iron Maiden, and then I had seen Sodom just before he played live there in Masters of Rock, and they had a horrible sound. It was awful, so I was very skeptic. The sound was great, Bruce came out all guns blazing and the crowd was really switched on. He has put together like an amazing touring band. I mean, the first one to notice is Tanya O'Callaghan on the bass. I have actually seen her before play with Whitesnake here in Prague, and I really kind of liked her groove and swagger, but she brings a lot more of that actually into Bruce's band. She's kind of more in the front somehow than she is with Whitesnake. The keyboardist Mysteria, he seems to be some sort of a magician, and he brings a different dimension to the stage with this guitar or whatever you call it. It's more often for me it's like a poppy thing, but he makes it metal with Bruce. The drummer Dave Moreno is super solid, and he has a very diverse background, interesting to read up on him, and that brings a lot of flavor I think to the music that you might not get from the traditional rock drummer. The two guitarists, Chris de Klerk and Philip Naslu, they don't take up a lot of space, to be very honest, but their playing is great and there's nothing wrong with that, but the star of the show is clearly Bruce himself. Now, I've seen Bruce many times through the years, and I've always kind of been waiting for the moment where he can't perform up to the standard that he himself helped setting for this genre. But he was on fire that night. His singing was spot on, he was his usual self, running around, jumping, working the crowd, but there was also different from when I saw him last year with Iron Maiden. You can see my review on that up here actually. He was having fun at this concert. He really enjoyed being there. You had the feeling that this was the only place in the world that he actually wanted to be. He got everyone to sing along and all that stuff. And there was this hilarious moment where this huge septic trucks, for some reason, had to drive through the middle of the crowd super slowly. And Bruce just stopped the concert and narrated the whole thing and said that if this thing explodes, I'm definitely going to be the owner of the shittiest show ever done. The show and the lights were really cool, and Bruce played the bongo drums. That was fun to see, and then he played some instrument, well, like some electric magnet field that I've never seen before. I didn't know existed, so I'm very happy to be educated on that sorcery. The setlist was good. It was 14 songs out of 6 albums, 3 from the new album. I wouldn't have minded to see a little bit more of the new album. I really like that album, but I get it, you know, like there is a lot more to his catalog than just that. But the interesting thing was that the songs that I didn't even know I had never heard before, I actually loved them, and that's a very good sign. So overall, I would say that Bruce set the bar pretty high for the other two. But let's now talk about Doro. Now, anyone who has been a young metal fan always likes Doro. I mean, girls like her were few and far between. She had the whole package in all the right proportions. I had never seen her live, so I was very much looking forward to losing my virginity to her live performance. And to make that moment even more memorable for me and Doro, I decided to be right up front by the stage. Doro's band is really good, and her long-term drummer Johnny D, along with the bass player Stefan Herkenhoff, they really put a solid foundation in this music that allows then the guitarist to be a little bit kind of more all over the place. And particularly actually, Bill Hudson. I know him from having seen him with I Am Morbid, which is Morbid Angels, Dave Vincent doing Morbid Angel songs. And I was somehow having a really hard time imagining this guy playing guitar with Doro. But he fits right in and he actually adds a different dimension to the band. He's all over the place. He has a very kind of particular look. He was, bare-chested, muscular. And the guy next to me asked me actually, did this guy play in Pirates of the Caribbean? And it makes sense when you look at the guy. Doro can definitely sing. There is absolutely no problems there. And she has just such a genuine stage presence. There is some sort of a beautiful aura over her. She's quite captivating. She's really good with the crowd that knew every song. And she worked them, and me as well. I mean, I even got an eye contact. The show didn't really get a chance to shine. I mean, it was way too bright outside for that. But I really enjoyed the energy there. It was like a professional performance, but it made me still want to see her more. It wasn't sterile or anything like that. It was just genuine heavy metal. The only downside I would say about Doro's performance was that it was only 10 songs. Usually she does more. It was a little bit of a letdown, and she didn't do Breaking the Law, which I thought she would do, and that she would bring Rob Halford on stage because he was on a little bit later. Her 40th anniversary too, so I was kind of sure that this would happen. But when it didn't happen there, I was sure, okay, it's going to happen later when Judas Priest plays. Now, Judas Priest were kind of the main reason why I wanted to go there. I had to see if they were different when I saw them back in March. On that show, I felt that the energy dropped a little bit during the show. There were like 3-4 songs in a row where I kind of felt that the energy dropped. I didn't feel back then that the routine and the tightness was somehow in the performance yet. So I really wanted to see it. And again, I stayed up close and personal right in front of the stage. During the wait for Judas Priest, some clouds started building up, and suddenly everyone in the crowd and their grandma turned weathermen. There was a storm brewing, definitely, but not just any storm. And the organizer came on stage like 20 minutes before the band came on and told us that due to safety, the gig might be cancelled. So I stood there praying to the gods, the new gods, the old gods, the weather gods, and also the main gods, the gods of metal. But in a typical fashion, it started raining the moment that they came on stage. And at first I thought it would just be a few drops, but I was wrong. Now, this was one of the craziest rains that I've ever witnessed in my life, but nobody left. And that created a certain bond, some feeling between the crowd and the band that we're in this together somehow. And the band just kept on playing like this was another day in the office. But it did harm the sound quality a little bit when, you have this rain sound and all that stuff, and the sound just doesn't travel as well through the air. And after 2 to 3 songs, they started having to bring people on to kind of push the water off the stage. And eventually, after 7 songs, the gig was actually stopped, and we were asked to move back from that metal fence that is right in the front, because if the lightning would strike, we would just be electrocuted. I didn't really want to go far because I couldn't think of a cooler way to die than to be electrocuted at the Judas Priest concert. 8 minutes later, the announcers were kind of telling us that we would all have to go home. There would be no more concert. But all of a sudden, the music started. And in that song, Turbo Lover, that restarted the show, I kind of realized, okay, these guys are better now than they were in March. There was more routine, there was more tightness. Rob's vocals were actually better, I feel, this time than in March, which makes sense. I mean, the band has been touring non-stop for like 3-4 months, so obviously they get better and better. He was really good with the crowd, both in the songs and also in between the songs, and he gave a heartwarming speech about thanking us for following them for 50 years and supporting them through all this stuff. Now, the show was cool with that cross coming down, themes on the screens. Glenn Tipton was on the screen when they played Victim of Change and the guitar solo and stuff like that. And what I felt with this setlist versus back in March, which was of course a little bit longer, the energy didn't drop somehow. No, even if they had an 8-minute break due to weather, the energy just didn't drop. Now, Rob Halford is obviously the main thing of this band, and the whole band is great, but I gotta give a shout out to Andy Sneap. He was out there in the rain like it wasn't there, and he showed us, if I can do it, guys, you can do it. But unfortunately, Doro didn't come on stage during Breaking the Law, so I missed that opportunity. I had much more fun on this concert than I had back in March, and this was definitely a night where the metal gods won over the weather gods. Now, first of all, a little disclaimer. This is one person experience in one festival. This person, that one festival. I'm not saying this band is better than that band or anything like that. I'm trying to be objective here on how I experienced these performances. Ranking this is really hard because they were all really, really good. There is none of them did bad, actually. They could all sing, so there were no issues with that. All bands are great, sound quality was good. And it was really, really amazing, minus just a few minutes of poor audio quality for Judas Priest due to the rain. But I said I would rank, so here goes my rank. Now, the third place was Doro. I'm super happy that I saw her. I will definitely go and see her again. I think that it's mutual based on the eye contact. It was a very authentic metal experience somehow. Her vocals are great. She's great with the crowd. It was everything that you want from old school heavy metal. She suffered a little bit from being on that day shift, I would say. I mean, I know that it would have been even greater if she would be playing at night. Now, the second best, and this is kind of weird, is Judas Priest. Because they gave me an experience that I will actually never forget with those weather conditions, being right up front there by the stage. I don't know, I think I will remember this night forever. Rob was on fire, Andy Sneap was basically swimming, and all the hits were there, and the atmosphere was like, guys, we're in the trenches together. But from a pure performance point of view, Bruce just takes the prize. And I think what did it for me with him is that he was actually playing songs that I didn't know, but it was so much fun. I was even singing along with lyrics that I didn't know. His energy on stage was just amazing, and his in-between banter was great. I mean, he said, I want to see some bouncing checks and stuff like that, which, you know, I like those kind of dad jokes. There was just some magic in his show and how he was there, and I felt like I saw old Bruce somehow on that stage, and maybe that's the thing. I feel a little bit twisted now because, you know, Judas Priest actually gave me something that I will remember forever. I don't know if I'll remember this Bruce concert forever, but on the other hand, I mean, like, yeah, I'm trying to be objective on performance, so maybe I'm doing this ranking too early. Maybe if I would do this in a year or 10 years, I would maybe rank it differently. Anyway, if you're still here and you're not sleeping yet, then I would be very happy if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel for more concert reviews, album reviews and interviews. And let me know if you've seen those three legends and how it was in the comments. Then I want to turn your attention to those two videos here. That is my concert review from Judas Priest in Prague in March, and then actually that Iron Maiden review where they were really shitty in Prague last year.